everyone, I am Radhika Dilipra, environmental science student, and my seminar topic is hazardous waste. Content, introduction, sources, and classification. Introduction. First, hazardous waste is a waste that is submitted or potential threats to public health or the environment. Second, characteristic hazardous wastes are a material that are known to tested to inhabit one or more of the following hazardous traits. Third, ignability. Fourth, reactivity. 5. Corrosivity. 6. Toxicity. 7. These hazardous wastes are materials specifically listed by regulatory authorities as hazardous waste which are from non-specific sources, specific sources or discarded chemical product. Sources. Hazardous wastes are byproduct of human activities that could cause submitted harm to human health or the environment if improperly managed. The United States Environmental Protection Agency classified liquid, solid and gaseous discarded materials and emission as hazardous if they are poisonous, flammable, corrosive or chemically reactive at levels above specific safety threshold. In the United States, the term hazardous waste generally refers to potential dangerous or polluting chemical compounds. Other potential hazardous industrial, military, agriculture, and municipal byproducts, including biological contamination and radioactive waste, are regulated by other government agencies than the EPA's Hazardous Waste Division. The handling of hazardous waste became a major political issue in the late 1970s in the United States and the other industrial nations when a number of high-profile human health and environmental pollution crises forces public attention on the problem. Since there are many governments have gently expand regulation of hazardous waste management, disposal practice and cleanup in the United States. The EPA oversees hazardous waste regulation, the attempt to prevent new cases of environmental and human contamination, as well as the so-called Superfund program. Then addresses cleanup of the site contaminated in the past. Hazardous waste, sources of hazardous waste, protection from hazardous waste, government management state, treatment and disposable techniques. Classification. Ignability of hazardous waste. There are three types of ignability from liquids with a flash point, the lowest temperature at which fumes about waste ignite of 60 degrees Celsius or 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Example include alcohol, gasoline, and acetone. Solids are spontaneously combust, oxidize, and compress gases. Hazardous waste corrosivity. Corrosive substances such as hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, and sulfuric acid have the ability it through contents causing the leak of harmful materials. A corrosive is anything liquid with a pH of less than or equal to 2 greater than or equal to 12.5 or has the ability to corrode steel. Everyday example of corrosive include battery acid and rust removers. Understanding the reactivity of your hazardous waste. Their instability reactive waste can be very dangerous. The EPA recognizes that there are too many conditions and situations to identify all types of reservoir materials. However, they use the following as guidelines to assist generators. Unstable and routinely experience violet chains with denoting potential from explosive mixture or violet reaction when combined with water. Toxic gases are released when mixed with water. Toxicity and hazardous waste. Poisonous materials pose the threat to our groundwater which can have long-term effects to human health and the environment. This is different from the first three characteristic groups, which is the EPA views a containing immediate and first-hand danger. There are 60 contamination on the toxicity characteristic list. These contamination and are identified solely through a test method called toxicity characteristic listing products. As a generator of any of the above, you have two operations op- offer two options to determine which characteristic about best define the waste of generate test it or use applied knowledge from previous company records or industrial data and studies. Hazardous waste corrosive. Corrosive substances such as hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, and sulfuric acid have a ability it through contamination causing the leak of harmful materials. The corrosive is anything liquid with a pH of less than or equal to greater than or equal to 12.5 or has the ability to corrode steel. Everyday example of corrosive include battery acid and rust remover. Understanding the reactivity of your hazardous waste. Given their stability, reactive waste can be very dangerous. The EPA recognizes that there are too many conditions and situations to identify all types of reactive material. However, they use the following as guidelines to attend generators. Unstable and routinely experience violet chains with detonating potential for explosive mixture or violent reaction when combined with water. Toxic gases are released when mixed with water. Toxicity and hazardous waste. Poisonous material pose a threat to our groundwater which have long-term effects to human health and the environment. This is different from the first three characteristic groups which is EPA views containing immediate and firstly dangers. As a generator of any of the above, you have two operations determine which characteristic above best define the best of generator test it or use applied knowledge from previous company records or industrial data and studies. Thank you.